Personal projects, the happiness of pursuit. A daughter's request and the nature of me. It was my daughter's 10th birthday party. Just half an hour before it was set to begin, she approached me with an unusual request. Could I hypnotize the guests and transform them into barnyard animals? I declined, citing a multitude of reasons encompassing ethical, legal, and practical concerns. Imagine the chaos if the cows started nibbling on the chickens. Disappointed, she shifted her strategy, asking if I could do something psychological that would captivate the kids. I gulped, realizing that managing a group of 10-year-old girls could be more challenging than facing a room full of irritable neuroscientists. I desperately tried to conjure up something interesting for the delightful, yet daunting, party attendees. Spitting images, exploring the personal. We gathered in the kitchen, and I called for a volunteer. Jennifer stepped forward. It seemed every 10-year-old girl in 1980s North America was named Jennifer, except my daughter. I gave her the following instructions. Okay, Jennifer, I want you to get some spit in your mouth. I demonstrated with exaggerated mouth movements, which they found amusing. She followed suit, producing a decent wad. Now, swallow it. Jennifer complied, looking slightly confused. I asked her if it felt strange or uncomfortable, and she said it didn't. Apparently, she had swallowed saliva before. So far, this was profoundly uninteresting, and I avoided eye contact with my daughter, who was beginning to look mortified. But then I produced a sparkling clean glass, placed it in front of Jennifer, and asked her to get some spit in her mouth again. She did. Now spit into the glass. She did. Now drink it. Gross. No way. They all recoiled at the prospect of drinking their own spit. I then asked them why it was so repulsive compared to the normal act of swallowing. Another Jennifer had a clever idea. She suggested that in normal swallowing, the spit was warm, but in the glass, it was cold, making it gross. So, I suggested we heat up the glass of spit. Would it be easier to drink then? Ooh, was the resounding consensus. The little demonstration seemed interesting enough to keep my daughter engaged. And, as an added bonus, I didn't have to clean up after any barnyard animals. Why share this anecdote? It helps us understand, almost viscerally, the nature of what is truly personal and the subtle essence of selfhood. At what point does our own saliva transform from being warm and me to being cold and alien? Perhaps the moment it drips off our lower lip? While the dynamics of spitting might only be of substantial interest to philosophically inclined dentists, I won't dwell on it further for now, though I will revisit it later. The key takeaway is that this exercise helps us grasp the personal nature of the personal projects we pursue in our lives, which is what we will explore next. Personal projects, what do we think we're doing? The concept of personal projects has been introduced in previous chapters, and I now want to expand upon that discussion. In simple terms, personal projects are the things we do or plan to do in our daily lives. Personal projects can range from routine actions, like put out the cat, to the overarching commitments of a lifetime, like liberate my people. They can be solitary pursuits or communal ventures, self-initiated or imposed upon us, deeply pleasurable or a source of constant frustration. Our sense of well-being is intrinsically linked to our personal projects. Understanding that connection is the purpose of this chapter. While personal projects are actions, not all actions qualify as personal projects. Some deliberate actions may not reach the level of personal significance that defines a personal project. Personal significance refers to whether the action stands out as important to the individual. Furthermore, personal projects typically extend beyond a single, momentary action. They involve a series of connected actions. They are also, importantly, actions within a context. This means that interpreting a personal project requires considering the circumstances in which it is embedded. Take, for example, the personal project of put out the cat. This might seem trivial, an almost automatic act. And for many of us whose lives are happily influenced by demanding cats, it is. But consider this scenario: you have severe arthritis and use a walker. Your house has 4 steep steps leading to the back door. You can only put the cat out by abandoning your walker, holding onto the railing while also managing the squirming Mr. Kippy, and carefully navigating the stairs to the outside door. This is no longer a trivial act. It becomes a personal project requiring skill, strength, perseverance, and a good sense of humor. Context matters. Our research indicates that people typically report pursuing around 15 personal projects at any given time. Obviously, people cannot engage in every project simultaneously, multitasking notwithstanding. Therefore, managing personal projects requires specific skills, such as prioritizing projects, resolving conflicts between them, and preventing depletion due to their cumulative demands on our resources. What are your personal projects? Content and categorization. For decades, my students and I have explored the connection between personal projects and well-being. Through this research, we've gained valuable insight into how pursuing projects can significantly impact our lives, either positively or negatively. I've developed a method called Personal Projects Analysis, PPA, to investigate these connections. PPA helps us examine the content, evaluation, dynamics, and impact of personal projects on an individual's life. I consider it an alternative to traditional personality assessments. While trait-based approaches might focus on inherent personality aspects, PPA explores personality through actions and pursuits. We begin by asking individuals to create a list of their current personal projects, a process we informally call a project dump. This involves simply listing everything they are currently doing or considering, without prioritizing or overanalyzing. You might find it insightful to create your own project dump right now. So, what are you working on? Over the years, I've observed that certain personal projects are consistently popular. Losing weight, or more specific variations like losing 10 pounds, is a common example. It is interesting that the same result was found on the website called 43 Things, www.43things.com, which I encourage readers to explore. The website provides a repository of personal goals that individuals are pursuing, together with feedback from people who have had experience with that particular goal and encouragement from those who find the goal to be worthwhile, estimable, or cool. Analyses of the most commonly listed goals on websites like 43 Things reveal losing weight as a frequent choice, along with writing a book and stopping procrastination. It's worth noting that these projects primarily reflect the pursuits of individuals from Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic, weird countries. In contrast to these common projects, there are also unique and idiosyncratic pursuits, like be a better druid or fill in the sinkhole in the backyard before Fred gets home. The latter, for example, arose from a wife's desire to prevent her elderly, recovering husband from being alarmed by the hole upon his return from the hospital. The sequence of personal projects can also be revealing. One 30-year-old man listed: get my pilot's license, get a waterbed, go to Colorado, go to the Bahamas, followed by get out of debt. Other projects offer a glimpse into personality traits, such as tell my sister to get rid of her sickening boyfriend, followed by think before saying something stupid. Similarly, one can easily imagine the young woman who listed singing with friends, sitting back and enjoying the music, playing with my dog, hugging my friends, and try to be more easygoing. The importance of wording in personal projects. The language we use when describing our personal projects plays a crucial role in our likelihood of success and overall well-being. Neil Chambers' analysis of personal project phrasing shows how our wording significantly impacts outcomes. Projects framed as direct actions, like lose 10 pounds, are more likely to succeed and are associated with greater well-being compared to tentative phrases like try to lose weight. Chambers suggests that individuals prone to trying personalities should reframe their projects as active doings. Don't just think about doing it, and don't just try, do it. Categories of personal projects. Beyond phrasing, the domain of a personal project also influences well-being. The most common categories are interpersonal, work, school-related, health-focused, and recreational projects. Intrapersonal projects, e.g., be more outgoing, get control of my temper, focused on self-understanding and change, are particularly interesting. These projects have a complex relationship with well-being, which can only be understood by looking at both the type of project and our evaluations of it. How are you doing? This passage discusses the appraisal of personal projects. A key point is that individuals can perceive the same project very differently. For instance, losing weight can be a positive, self-expressive fitness goal for an athlete, whereas for someone else, it could be a source of stress and frustration, driven by external pressures and a lack of confidence. Research on personal projects focuses on how people evaluate their projects across various dimensions. 5 main factors consistently emerge. Project meaning, the personal significance of the project. Projects are often seen as sources of meaning, aligning with core values, being important and self-expressive. Positive emotions generally outweigh negative emotions in project pursuit. Interpersonal and recreational projects tend to be rated more positively than academic or occupational ones. Manageability, how feasible and controllable the project feels. Connection, the degree to which the project connects the individual to others or to a larger purpose. Negative emotions, the extent to which the project elicits negative feelings. Positive emotions, the extent to which the project elicits positive feelings. The dimension of self-identity, how much a project is seen as reflecting one's true self, is particularly intriguing. An anecdote is shared about a student who vehemently denied that her personal projects defined her, because they were externally imposed obligations rather than expressions of her true self. This highlights the potential for projects to feel either warm and natural or cold and alienating. The passage is finalized with a story of the author accidentally eating peanuts his daughter pre-sucked. Self-identity in adolescents' personal projects. My interest in the connection between self-identity and personal projects began with a somewhat unusual thought: the role of saliva in project pursuit. While the idea of a grant proposal titled Great Expectorations was quickly dismissed, it sparked a genuine interest that led to a successful grant application focused on self-identity in high school students. This allowed me to assess students in a large high school based on the content and their personal appraisal of their various projects. Consider the types of personal projects that high school students find most meaningful and integral to their sense of self. Which projects feel intrinsically them, versus those that feel external or imposed. The following categories represent the highest average scores in terms of self-identification, ranked in ascending order, on a scale of 0 to 10. Sports, 8.2. Boy, girlfriend, 8.5. Sex, 8.6. Spiritual, 8.9. Community, 9.8. These results highlight several interesting points. Firstly, given the frequency of projects explicitly involving sex, we differentiated them from broader relationship-based projects. While enjoyable as we expected, projects centered on sex were also identified as those in which students felt most authentically themselves. This observation was particularly intriguing as it challenged traditional developmental theories that posit a necessary sense of personal identity before the development of intimate relationships. Our findings suggest that, at least for emerging adults and their personal projects, identity and intimacy are intertwined. We understand ourselves through our interactions and connections with others. Secondly, the high self-expressiveness associated with spiritual and, especially, community projects often surprises audiences. While these projects may not be as frequently undertaken as others, those students who do pursue them report a profound sense of self-expression. What might explain the common thread connecting these highly meaningful personal projects? One possibility is that they all involve learning to give and receive, feeling needed, and developing competence in forming intimate connections. While sports may seem like an outlier, team sports, in particular, can provide opportunities for boys, who comprised most of the sports projects, to forge deep bonds with teammates. Conversely, at the other end of the self-identity spectrum, the projects considered least self-defining reveal a more concerning picture. Here are the lowest scoring categories, ranked in descending order. Reading, 6.2. Maintenance, 6.0. Academic, 5.7. It's important to note that the reading data was collected before the surge in popularity of books like the Harry Potter series. It's likely that reading projects would score higher in a more contemporary study. The low self-identity scores for maintenance projects, such as cleaning or yard work, are likely due to their imposed nature, rather than stemming from genuine personal motivation. However, the most disheartening result is the low score for academic projects. For these students, academic pursuits were the least self-expressive of all the major project domains we examined. Indeed, the scores for maintenance and academic projects suggest that telling a teenager to clean up your room or do your homework might be one of the most alienating things you can say, akin to offering them something unpleasant. Managing personal projects, initiation, efficacy, and control. Assuming you are dedicated to personally meaningful projects aligned with your values and intrinsically motivating, how manageable are they? Can the mere presence of meaningful pursuits guarantee well-being? The Personal Projects Analysis, PPA, examines 3 dimensions related to the organization and progress of your personal projects. Initiation. Did you primarily initiate the project, high score, or were you prompted by external factors, low score? Efficacy. Do you anticipate successful outcomes? High scores indicate a strong likelihood of success, while low scores suggest likely failure. Control. Do you feel in control of the projects? These dimensions, like those related to meaning, are typically rated positively. Most people initiate their projects, expect success, and feel in control. A cross-cultural study comparing university students in China and North America revealed that Chinese students were significantly less likely to initiate their projects, potentially due to the influence of collectivistic culture. This highlights how personal projects reflect both individual needs and the broader social context. Efficacy, measured by progress and likelihood of success, is a strong predictor of well-being. This aligns with research in cognitive behavior therapy demonstrating the importance of efficacy in coping with challenges. While meaningful projects contribute to well-being, manageability and efficacy appear to be even more influential. Ideally, projects should be both meaningful and achievable. There may be a trade-off where your most meaningful projects are also the most challenging to manage. The benefits of efficacy are enhanced when experienced in conjunction with meaning. Similarly, perceived control over one's projects is a key determinant of well-being. While some projects are easily controlled, others can be disrupted by external factors. Accurate assessment of resources and constraints is vital for maintaining a sense of control. Seeking advice from others with similar experiences can provide valuable insights. Many struggle to predict their future happiness, and insights from others who have already pursued those options can better guide life choices. The importance of sharing, support, and removing obstacles. While the meaningfulness and manageability of personal projects are crucial, the opinions of others regarding these endeavors can be a significant factor. Whether perceived as pointless, misguided, unconventional, or morally objectionable, external perspectives raise the question of how vital support is in pursuing one's projects and how these projects connect to others. In intimate relationships, mutual appreciation for personal projects fosters a healthy dynamic. Conversely, a partner's indifference or disdain can be discouraging. Research by and Huang highlights the significance of shared personal projects in relational satisfaction among young adults. To foster connection, individuals need to make their projects known. Some readily share their aspirations, while others keep them private. Gender differences influence project visibility. Women may benefit from sharing project challenges, while men may find it helpful to keep them to themselves, potentially reflecting differing coping mechanisms. Men may tend to confront stressors directly, while women may seek support and connection. Similar observations arose when examining factors contributing to well-being among senior management. Women valued supportive organizational cultures, whereas men prioritized environments that allowed them to pursue projects without hindrance. For them, support meant removing obstacles from their path. Unlike self-efficacy, which directly impacts well-being, social connection plays a more nuanced role. Studies on pregnant women and entrepreneurs illustrate this point. Viewing pregnancy as a personal project, researchers found that emotional support from partners was the strongest predictor of successful delivery. Likewise, emotional support from partners was a key factor in the success and well-being of entrepreneurs. The analogy of a project being their baby highlights the crucial role of support. How do you feel? The emotional landscape of personal projects. To recap, we know that personal projects contribute to well-being when they are meaningful, manageable, and socially connected. But what happens when projects lack joy and are relentlessly stressful, despite these positive attributes? Caring for a parent with dementia, a demanding and increasingly common situation, can illustrate a project that overwhelms families and lacks positive emotional returns. Conversely, engaging in activities that evoke joy and a sense of aliveness significantly enhances our quality of life. Negative emotions in project pursuit warrant attention. Our research consistently reveals a strong link between well-being and the absence of stress and negativity associated with projects. While efficacy is a strong positive predictor of well-being, stress is an equally powerful negative predictor. The degree to which stressful projects impact well-being surpasses the influence of socioeconomic status, race, gender, and other demographics. Conversely, individuals experiencing high levels of negative affect, particularly depression, tend to be engaged in stressful projects with low efficacy. Does culture influence the emotional experience of personal project pursuit? While more research is needed, one study comparing Canadians and Portuguese individuals revealed nuances. Inspired by personal observations of cultural differences in emotional expression, particularly the Portuguese concept of saudade, a complex emotion of longing and nostalgia, a study was undertaken. An anecdote recounts an attempt to understand saudade through a conversation with a young Portuguese man, highlighting its profound and somewhat bittersweet nature. The subsequent research revealed that Portuguese participants reported experiencing more positive emotions, hope, happiness, love, in their projects than Canadians. However, they also reported higher levels of depression and emotional ambivalence. This blend of love, depression, and ambivalence could be indicative of a broader cultural emotional stance, extending beyond romantic relationships. If your personal projects are meaningful, manageable, socially connected, and elicit more positive than negative emotions, research suggests you are likely to be happy and experience a fulfilling life. Conversely, projects lacking significance, marked by chaos, isolation, and emotional pain, can lead to the opposite outcome. Unlike fixed traits or environmental constraints, personal projects are malleable. We can actively change them. While traits define who we are, projects define what we do. Contexts may confine us, but projects propel us towards new possibilities, including a happier life. The final chapter will explore how to achieve this outcome by understanding the nature of our core projects and how their sustainable pursuit is essential for well-being. This may involve venturing beyond our comfort zones to objectively examine, revise, and reintegrate our deepest aspirations. It requires courage and vulnerability to transform our lives. End of Chapter 9.